usually the way we look at gratitude is higher power, right? Like you said, or be grateful and show my higher power with my actions how I'm grateful. But this exercise taught me to look at, okay, so why are these people doing so much, right?
Mm,
And like you said, like these women have over 10 years sober, and there's 4 or 5 of them that I helped, you know,
yeah.
get sober and, continue to help them, stay on the path of spiritual progress. And they helped me too with that. Overall, the general takeaway from that is that I put in the energy into the universe and I'm getting it out,
Right, exactly. And
and
it's true.
what a deal.
So it's better than saying, "Well, it's not because of me, it's just because they're codependent." Right?
And they have well, and also they had nothing else to do, right? Like,
Oh,
no, they're all they're all
they were
working for
losers,
they're
right.
like, "You're so smart. You bought a house during a pandemic when we all can't go to work, so all we can do is come help you."
Right, right. So, like, that's awesome. Right, so, like, when good things happen to you, people generally, like, explain them or say why around 3 axes, and this is really difficult for me. I don't know about you, because I know you teach this as well, but when I teach it in person, it's hard. I think doing it this way, for me anyway, I don't know how you feel, this is just one of the hardest things to teach. So, I'm gonna try, we're gonna try. So basically, people, when things happen, people will say, "Well, is it because of me or not me?" So in my case, the good feedback I said has nothing to do with me. This person is just fooled. Rihanna. By the way, when about the cooking, I did say it was about me, but I'm gonna use the negative one or the pessimistic explanatory style just to contrast.
Mhm.
Rihanna's was, "No, it's me. I put in the time." She took a bigger view, and that's like the universe is there's karma, right? And that's more pervasiveness. So
Mhm.
pervasive is like how widespread is it? That is, good things are going to happen to her because she does good things. I mean, this goes back to Peel's like power of positive thinking, which isn't something that I ascribe to, but people generally get the idea. And the reason I don't is because it's not evidence based.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
it's not. It's and it's not true. You can't tell somebody all you have to do is have positive thoughts, and if things don't happen positive, it's your fault. And that's basically what he said, which I think is kind of foolish. You also need to have some negative thoughts. Like it's not good to be optimistic if the risk of failure is high. So if you're a pilot and you look at the wing and it might be iced over, you don't want to say, "Ah, it's gonna be fine." No, I mean, come on. So positive recovery, and I'll say this a million times because people need to hear it. I find because there is a misconception. It's not about being positive all the time. It's a sexy name. I love it, but positive psychology is the new science. But still, there are times where you need to be pessimistic, right? Like drinking and driving. If you get behind the wheel and you think, "Ah, it's gonna be, I'm gonna be fine." No, dumbass. You've got to, things are not going to go well if you drink and drive. You have to have that mentality. Um, another axis, I guess the other one is not pervasiveness, is not personalization, but it's permanence. Like, is this something that's going to last or is it just like a one-off thing, right?
Mhm.
So, the reason why I have trouble sometimes teaching it is because pervasiveness and permanence are very similar,
Mhm.
it seems. And so teasing them apart, especially, I don't want to be too nuanced. People are early in recovery, brain, neurons aren't clicking all that well. And plus at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you can just learn to explain things like, okay, it was me and it wasn't luck. And in life, good things will happen for the most part, because the risk of failure isn't high for most things that happen, especially people helping you out at home. I mean, what's there to be pessimistic about there, right? Somebody giving you good feedback at work. It just so happens if you're depressed, research shows that when people are sad, they see the world that way. So they use pessimistic explanatory style. And if you teach them optimistic explanatory style or attributing it to good things about yourself reasonably and about the world, then things go better for you. When I said reasonably, it's because you don't want to stand in front of a group of people and give a speech naked. And if you get negative feedback, say it was them, it wasn't you. That's also silliness, right? You just have to have a touch of reality. Do you have anything to add about this? Since you're better at speaking,
No, no,
teaching
no.
it,
No, I'm not. I'm not better at teaching it. Don't say that. See, listen to him. I'm still thinking about you standing in front of everyone
don't.
naked.
That's not
Sorry.
a good thought.
Traumatized, but no.
Exactly. It's a horror film.
I think the permanence is, I think, people new in recovery can kind of wrap their brain around that, right? Because especially when they're experiencing post-acute withdrawal symptoms, or they're, in detox, you can really talk about, like, is this, is, does this, is this going to happen forever, right? Or is this just temporary? And oftentimes, when you're in active addiction, because your explanatory style is often negative, it seems like this is always going to happen and it's never going to get better.
Right.
Right. And so just being able to identify that and in early in recovery too, to know that this is temporary, this is going to get easier and it is going to get better. They can really latch on to that.
No, absolutely. And so, real quick, you said post acute withdrawal
Mhm.
syndrome. So, what that refers to the time period after the acute detox, or like if you're, drinking and you stop, you're going to have detox, right? You're going to have withdrawal, and it's acute, meaning it's very short and very severe. But the brain takes a long time, the body takes a long time to get back to balance. And it's during that period we refer to symptoms like cravings and memory problems and sleep problems and mood problems and so forth as post-acute withdrawal syndrome. It's affectionately known through the euphemism of pause.
Pause.
Right, you got
Yeah.
pause. And then just like you were saying, optimistic explanatory style was actually used in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I know that's anonymous at the level of radio, television, and film, but the explanation, the doctor's opinion, was the first time that in print, addiction was defined as a disease. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it really is or really isn't, whatever you believe, because it's better to explain it as a disease than that you are a wretch. Because if it's you that is the problem, why would you do anything about it? If it's a disease, if it's something out there, something that can be managed, chances are you're more likely to work for recovery than if it was, well, it's just me. Like, so I'm not going to do anything about it.
Mhm.
And that's actually, I think, one of the beautiful things about the doctor's opinion chapter. But in general, no matter where you lie, if the truth isn't black and white, I mean, if you can explain it as a disease and get better,
Mhm.
it's, I mean, I truly believe it is a disease. So I'm not trying to take such the middle ground here, but it's something Dr. Seligman, who's the founder of positive psychology, covered in one of his previous books, the things you can change and the things you can't. This was really interesting.
Mhm.
He's like he showed the research, which was part of the reason I actually got interested in improving outcomes, was that, there's a 30-30-30 rule. There's like 30% of the people don't get better.
Yeah.
30% of the people relapse, 30% of the people get better without treatment. There's a lot to tease apart there, but his point was, yeah, if you explain it as a disease, you're going to be better off. And yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.